Ivy Cross. Hi, my name is Anna and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with a very exciting reaction to a repackaged album, and we'll be reacting to NCT 127.
Yes, so NCT 127 is back with a new repackaged album today, and the title for this release is Favorite Vampire. So obviously we watched the teaser and we know that there's supposed to be vampires in this. It's even in the title of the song. That being said, let's just go.
You know what the first thing I noticed in that shot was?
What? How tall Johnny is.
Shoes.
Oh, okay. It flew into...
What? The jackets still remind me of Sticker, which is cool since it's like the repackage.
It's in the background. And now there's strings. I was gonna say,
He teleported.
because this music you hear in the beginning, I'm like, oh, it's like a twisted fairy tale.
That was like oddly realistic.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah, like this. It sounds like so sweet. And then they just added like the NCT more like techno sounds to it.
Wait, pause. His foot was pointed.
Yuta?
Yuta.
I was gonna say, I feel like out of all of them, Yuta's visuals fits like the vampire concept the most. Ooh, sort of silent earlier. The glitter.
Roses are red. Oh, interesting.
That's really pretty.
Yeah.
In the background.
And as it's building, they're coming forward.
Was that a butterfly? Was that supposed to be their heart beating?
I think so. Like the wings, because like you get like butterflies in your stomach, it's like fluttery feeling.
I know, but they're supposed to be vampires. They're dead. How's the heart beating?
You know, the rules of mythology are more like guidelines. Maybe it's because they like you so much it made their undead heart beat again.
Like warm bodies, but for vampires?
Oh! Roses, like in Taeyong's rap. What the?
Freaking marching band?
It sounds also kind of like a royal court entrance, but like dance break?
Well, I guess, it's like techno video game. Chimes. Oh?
I'm not sure which vampire rules we're following in this.
Wait there. That was very like early 2000s. That moment. Is it all a dream? Like in their head?
Oh, Hita. So was it not a dream? What? Okay, so let's just sync our fangs right into some comments about this dance. Let's talk about the dance. One thing that I really enjoyed about it was the relation that I felt like I could see to Sticker, because it is a repackage. Like, certainly it's a different song, it's a different concept, very different choreography. But there were still a couple of places where when I was watching it, I was like, oh, that move is reminiscent of Sticker, like especially in some of the formations. Like when I said, oh, and it's building and they're coming forward, it reminded me of how the Sticker choreography builds. And I just like when repackages have like little callbacks to the original album. Like I mentioned it in the jackets too. The very like heavily embroidered jackets reminded me of one of the Sticker costumes. I guess that's what dancers call it, stage outfits. Something else though that I think I enjoyed more, because like inevitably I'm going to compare this a little bit to Sticker because it is the repackage album, like they're directly tied to each other, but something I think I enjoyed a little bit more about this one was the overall quality of the dancing, because this one feels a little bit more regal. Obviously like vampires are generally associated with like princely feelings and sort of that like old age, like very wise, very imposing. You saw a lot of that in the sustained movements, and I feel like sustained movements are not something that you see 127 do very often, like those upright princely like arms opening, like big grand gestures, just because generally they tend to be more on the side of like popping isolations, that more like techno, like new age sort of style. So I personally really enjoyed that because it felt more like watching a ballroom scene, honestly, like in a ballet, not like ballroom dancing, like when you choreograph a ballroom scene. But there were also just a lot of little details that popped out to me. Like I waited till Anna stopped talking and then I was like, but his foot was pointed. Because they had a lot of extensions in this dance. Like there are a lot of times where their legs were off the ground, and one of my pet peeves in any sort of dancing is when your leg is off the ground, like your whole leg is straight and then your foot's just kind of dangling. But man, Yuta, after my heart once again, his foot was so nicely pointed, and I'm sure the others were too, but he was right in front at that point, and I was just like But also there was a lot of little like small shaking isolations, which I found interesting, especially the ones where they are in a V and moving forward and they'll like step and then like almost like shake their shoulders because of how their arms were out, and because of what I was also seeing in the music video at the time, which was the butterflies. It reminded me of like little like butterfly wings flapping, and so that comes back to our whole like, oh, is it because they have so many feelings, they feel something even though their heart's not supposed to be beating? And I think that it's interesting when what's being represented in the music video is also visually sort of seen through the dance. I told Anna this like as soon as we finished, but personally I enjoyed this one a lot more than Sticker because it's just a lot more up my alley of music. So I was having a great time. Anna's turn.
Okay, so it is now time for my comments. Where do I start? I mean, I said this a few times in the reaction. Maybe I said it in my head, but it came out differently in word form. But basically what I was thinking was like, this is a lot more like melodic and like drawn out sort of, but it still has the references of like the typical experimental NCT style, especially 127 style that you think of. Like the chorus is the perfect example of that, because you hear that common theme that's been playing throughout the whole song, that was playing in the beginning too, that or like it sounds kind of like fluty, and like the singing is very beautiful as well, but then in the background you hear this kind of like more synth percussion and like random more techno sounding lines that are very like neo culture technology. But kind of talking about that line, the common theme, ever since I first heard it in the teaser, I was like, oh, this is so fairy tale, because it's kind of what you would expect to hear as like background music in like maybe a Disney princess movie, but also because of the more flute sound, it gives this like more outdoors feeling, like outside in nature, which also feels very sort of like folklore, like legend that you're hearing, like those sorts of tales, which is in line with like how stories of vampires are told. Honestly, that line just made me think of freaking like Legend of Zelda or something. Other things that sort of added to that more like you said ballroom scene vibe, sort of princely feeling in certain outfits as well. The chords that you hear that I was kind of playing along with at the end of the song, the way that it's emphasized is very like that ballroom-esque feeling. Obviously it's very straight on the beat, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and then talking about NCT as a whole, beautiful voices, background vocals. And I feel like, yes, there are typically background vocals in 127 songs, but there were way more than there typically are in this song for a 127 song, which I really enjoyed. So one thing, you obviously hear like the hums in the background, which are used more instrumentally, just like as a different layer, haziness, a head in the clouds, like otherworldly, that kind of texture. But then also there's like the actual harmonies with like actual words being sung for the background vocals, which were also really pretty. And then like random line here, random line there, which I really enjoyed. I think the last thing that I'm going to talk about though is my kind of like what the heck is going on moment for like the dance break, because the sort of marching band song that we are talking about, like yes, you said it's also sort of like regal entrance, so more percussion, which is like typical for a dance break, and then it switches to the typical like 127 style sound for a dance break. But then it suddenly switched back for a like bridge moment with Toyoung beautifully singing his emotional longing voice that you hear. I just like was so shocked. But overall, like Peyton, I think I do prefer this, at least on first listen, I prefer this one to Sticker just because like more melodic, more my style. That's it. That's all I have to say.
So, TLDR for this reaction is NCT 127, NCT 82. Congratulations on your repackaged album. NCT 127 is back with Favorite Vampire. Concept, got it. But this one is also a lot more melodic. It's a lot more regal. It sort of showed us a different side than we usually see in 127, but also kept a lot of those 127 iconic qualities in there, both in the song and in the performance. So,
but if you'd like to talk with us more about this song, about NCT 127 as vampires, about anything K-pop in general, then feel free to reach out to us on our socials, which are linked in the cards. And as always, if you enjoyed this reaction video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and bye!
bye!